Well, hi guys, welcome to this midday market mood check with me, Nandita, Khemka, and my colleague Yatin Mota. Well, Yatin, we started off on an iffy note, but we've recovered from the day's low, and the Nifty is managing to hold around that 19,750 mark. And if you look at the advanced decline ratio, that's also in favor of
Yeah,
gainers. But of course, the big story today, of course, banking and NBFC space after
correct.
RBI's crackdown on the consumer loans that came in post market hours yesterday. Of course, RBI has upped the risk weights on personal loans from 100% to 125%. Of course, that is expected to have an impact on
Yeah.
banks as well as NBFCs. So Yatin, let's talk about that in details before we talk about the rest of the market. If you look at some of the lenders like Axis Bank, SBI, they are they took a knee-jerk reaction, and we saw them emerging as the top losers. But when it comes to private banks and PSU
Yeah.
banks, what do you think will be most impacted by these norms?
Three things which happen in the course of this particular change in risk weight. Number one is the ability to lend.
Huh.
So, because the risk weight from 100% moves to 125, the overall growth, in personal unsecured loans moves down, and there could be a slowdown in the overall loan growth for businesses, which includes NBFCs and banks both. Number two is that the cost of funds increase because
Yeah.
you need to set aside a lot of capital when it comes to lending. So the overall capital adequacy ratio also moves down, and the cost of funds also moves down. So three impact. One is on the capital, one is on the growth, and one is on the net interest margins or the overall lending rates. So yes, a triple whammy for NBFCs and banks, and more to do with NBFCs because we have seen that the NBFCs like SBI cards, like Bajaj Finance, would be
RBL Bank.
impacted the most, and in the smaller banks, we have the smaller PSU banks like RBL, NBFCs like AB Capital, all of them suffering in trade down by 3-4%.
Yeah, but I think fintech intermediaries like Paytm, are they also expected
Yes,
to have some kind of impact?
they will also get impacted. Yes, because I think the kind of growth that was unprecedented in the personal loan segment, that too in the unsecured space, probably made RBI uncomfortable because these are typically loans to smaller people.
Yeah.
People tend to borrow for a lot of things which are non-core. You buy a washing machine, you buy a phone. You probably lost money in the stock markets. You do a personal loan to repay those debts. So I think the trend was slightly disturbing, and the RBI already in the last
RBI policy
meet they had
warned,
clarified that the unsecured market is making them slightly uncomfortable, and the growth rates needs to cool off, and that is what they have done. To cool off the growth there, to increase the risk weightage from 100% to 125%.
Right. In that sense, it wasn't really a surprise, but I think it's the lending to NBFCs from banking side. Risk weights being up there as well.
Yeah.
I think that has come as a bit of a surprise. But aside of that, Yatin, if you look at the rest of the market, FMCG is one pocket that was doing well today. So is paints. The entire paints basket is doing well, given the fact that oil prices have slumped.
cooled off.
We saw a 5% cut in oil prices overnight. Brent is back around that $77 a barrel mark, which is why I think Asian Paints was one of the gainers. Aside of that, pharma and autos continue to do well. Hero Moto, we talked about that in depth in the closing show yesterday. Even today, it is doing fairly well in trade. You have the likes of some of these life insurance companies like SBI Life, HDFC Life doing well, Apollo Hospitals, Asian Paints as I mentioned, and Hero Moto as well. HDFC AMC is another stock that I saw was up somewhere around 5% or thereabouts. On the losing end, as I mentioned, most of these bank stocks, you have SBI, Axis Bank, you have Bajaj Finance. Just 2 days ago, we had
Correct.
RBI, barring the company from issuing loans under two products, and now this also comes as a setback for Bajaj Finance as well. So that stock also down. ICICI Bank and BPCL ONGC are also among the losers today. Aside of that, Yatin, some movers in the mid cap end of the markets, and most of them are from the NBFC space. But we saw a block deal as well in delivery.
Yeah.
Let's speak about that as well.
So I think SoftBank has sold their shares in delivery, and
That was the Moneycontrol exclusive last evening, wherein
yeah.
Ashwin had broken the story.
Yeah. That stock is in focus, but that apart, no big movement coming in. If you talk about Nifty 500, Tata Investment, that stock is up 19% as we speak. Engineering, that is auto ancillary, up 12%. Saregama, Solar, and Philip Carbon are the other stocks which are doing well in trade. What's not doing well, as I mentioned earlier, RBL Bank, SBI Cards, both of these stocks down nearly 6.5%. Apart from these NBFCs, we have banks like IDFC First, that's down 4%, IDBI Bank down 3%, SBI is down 3%. So yes, a whole host of these financials are the top losers. Delivery also trading at the day's low right now, 2.5% down. Manappuram, Bank of Maharashtra, Central Bank among the other top losers when it comes to FNO trade as well as the cash markets.
Right, Yatin, aside of this big development that has happened, I think we are poised to end the week on a positive note.
Correct.
And also the fact that FI buying has come in for a second straight day, that is something that has brought about some bit of comfort when it comes to sentiment. But aside of that, I think we've covered most of the movers and shakers in trade today. But of course, I'll be having a detailed chat with, CNBC TV18's Lata Venkatesh on the impact of, RBI's clampdown on personal loans. That will be taking place at 1:30 p.m. So don't forget to tune in for that. But for now, it's a goodbye from me and Yatin. Of course, he's cheering for Team India as we have reached the finals. Of course, we will be playing Australia on Sunday, and that is something that we'll of course be watching out for. But we also have one more show to go before we hit the weekend. So come back and join in at 3:30 p.m. on closing bell. But for now, it's a goodbye from us. Thanks a lot for tuning in.